Okay, that's looking good. So I'm going to now start the Zoom recording here.
There we go.
In 1, 2, 3, 4.
Recording in progress.
Okay, now we will play the intro and then we'll get started. Good evening. Thank you, Becky Coles, for the intro. Today is Friday, April 24th, 2026. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I do appreciate you taking time to tune in, whether you're listening live or on podcast. I always appreciate the company out here in Listenerland. And today, on tonight's panel, we are going to discuss Behind the Bench, and to discuss it with me, I have in studio Paul Daniel and Sienna Trigeti. Thank you so much for joining us, joining me here tonight for this panel.
It's a pleasure to be here, Ellie. Thank you for having me.
Good to be here, Ellie.
Yeah, and I think Lynn will be along the way as well. So, Lynn, you can chime in.
Lynn is on her way to the studio as well.
Yeah, so you can chime in anytime in the discussion. Well, first of all, I just want to get right into the book here because I personally thought and found the whole how he got started out with Dan Belsma. I thought that piece at the beginning was very, very interesting, where it sort of showed the impact that he had on the team, and especially since that was the year that the Penguins were close to winning the Stanley Cup. Paul, what did you think of that particular part at the beginning of the book?
I thought it was actually quite good. I mean, the book overall had some excellent points, and it's always good to hear how a coach, motivates and organizes a team and motivates the players to reach their own personal bests. And I think Bialsma did a really good job on that. I think, of course, winning the Stanley Cup, it's an impressive feat, and I think it was very useful. I mean, considering also he had a very good team, he had a very good set of players on his team. Let's not kid ourselves. Sidney Crosby right at the top, right there. You can't go wrong with Pittsburgh. So, and I think that was actually a very impressive beginning.
I don't know if you remember, but a few years ago, I think it was either 2 or 3. Dan was actually the coach of the Seattle Kraken, and then he was let go.
Yeah, well, that's the one thing in this book. All the coaches that are profiled there have all been fired. Yes, fired at one time. So since before the book was published, and since then, so that's one commonality they all have there's one common they all share. They've all been fired, and because coaches, we all know, are hired to be fired.
Oh yeah. So, yep. Yeah, and of course, Mike Babcock was also mentioned in that book as well. He was also mentioned in there, and I mean, of course, I don't know if you remember, but he was also. He actually coached the Leafs as well at one point.
He did. He got a contract after him in 2016. And he coached him for 4 years until the fall of 2019. Basically, the team just sort of tuned him out, and he was canned, and he hasn't had a job since then. Although they hired him again. I think it was New Jersey. Was it New Jersey? I'm not sure. It was Columbus in 2023, and they fired him because. They fired him because of his tactics that he used. They didn't like bully tactics. I mean, this is a story. You may have heard the story about Mitch Marner when the first
year. Yes.
right? You know the story. I mean, that he asked Marner, who was a rookie at that time, give me a player that players on this team who are really good, who are really pulling their weight, and give me names of players who are not pulling their weight. And then Marner just did that, just followed his instructions, right? And then Bob Babcock read the list out to everybody. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure what he's trying to do with that. I mean, motivational. I'm not sure if that works for motivational. Um, that was an odd thing. And then, of course, famous for in 2023, he'd been hired by the Columbus Blue Jackets. 2 months later, he resigns when they find out that he asked his players to show him all the pictures that they have on their phones, so he could put it on a screen, on a TV screen, which is just really odd to
And
put
you
him out.
kind of wonder, like,
And
what exactly does that have to do with like motivation? Like,
it's
what?
a good question. And then that's when all the stories came about. Babcock. He's really a jerk. He's pushy. He's bullying over, and it's kind of odd. I came across this one quote in the book where he says, where is it now? Oh yeah, leadership is not to me. No, leadership to me is a lifestyle. You have to be transparent. That's what he said
Yeah,
in this book. It's just it just the parts of the book just don't wear well these years later. That's the problem.
yeah.
Again, not the fault of the author by any means. Not the fault of the author. It's
And it
just
just
yeah.
seems that these whole like things that Babcock was doing just kind of go against the whole principle of transparency, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it just he hasn't had a job since then, right? And no one's hired him. I mean, after he got canned by the Leafs, nobody hired him, and except for the Blue Jackets eventually. And they had let him go 2 months after he signed a contract.
London
So
Hub
yeah,
at
and now all these stories
cnrp.ca
come out
has
about
joined the
what kind of
meeting.
guy he was, but the thing is, he did have results. He won the. He was coach of the Team Canada at the Olympics in 2010 in Vancouver, where Crosby scored that golden goal. And no one was complaining about his tactics back then, but then that was a short tournament, of course. So so it's not like he's had the best team of all assembled, and I don't think you don't need to have a hard time motivating these great players to play for their country. But yeah, but he
No.
but he had some good success with the Red Wings as well. It's just sort of odd um, that the shine is a little off of Babcock's record.
Yeah, I mean, and it was him, and it was actually him and Lou Lamorello too, who were kind of well.
Yeah.
I think Lou Lamorello was okay, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I think it's just I don't. I mean, I think I mean, is it fair to say maybe Babcock doesn't belong in today's NHL? I don't know if that's
He
fair to
probably
say.
doesn't. Maybe he doesn't. Oh, hey, I don't think we've mentioned the book. Have we mentioned the book we're reading? Behind the Bench, Inside the Minds of
Yes, we
Hockey's
did. Yep.
Greatest Coaches. We did? Okay.
Yep.
I
But
didn't
go
know.
ahead,
I missed
mention it
that.
anyway.
Okay, I meant by Craig Custance, published in 2018. There you go. 2019. There you go. Now we all know.
There you go.
Okay.
Yep.
Now I know. It's more importantly.
Yeah. Yeah. Lynn, what are your thoughts on this book?
Well,
Specifically talking about Mike Babcock.
yes, yes. Well, I'll tell you, it's all new to me because I have never read a book, specifically about hockey, but I was excited about this one because a little late in the day, but my dad used to watch hockey faithfully every week. And
Mm-hmm.
my mom and
Right.
I would laugh and laugh because he'd be sitting in his chair, and I'm telling you, he would be he played hockey in some kind of, amateur
Mhm.
league when he was younger. He would be sitting there and yelling.
Oh, yeah.
He'd be coaching, he'd be yelling, I don't even know what he was talking. And my mom and I would get the biggest kick out of it. It was entertaining. And
I bet.
we just
Oh,
stayed right out of his way. So, I mean, I never really sat and watched any with him, but I'd hear his comments and then I'd hear him, on the phone or whatever, talking to one of his buddies about the game. So, at the time I picked very little up because I didn't really understand. So This was a good read just to, sort of begin to understand, um, the approaches that, a coach can take, and, how do they instill. I mean, I was watching a part of a game. I just glanced at it as I was breezing through the family room, and it looks very, exciting to me, but I still, I still have some trouble grasping, and it's hard to watch on TV. I find it really hard to watch. I need a bigger screen. Hey, that's what I need to do. I need to buy a bigger TV.
That's what you needed. That's the problem. That's the problem. That's
Yeah, because I'm like, wait a minute, where was that puck?
I think the puck track. Remember that? You remember that, Ali, a few years back, Fox News introduced this thing where they would a sensor that would when on TV where a person would shoot the puck and there was a streak of light that would follow after the puck was shot, so people could follow where the puck is because American viewers were complaining they couldn't find the puck. Remember that?
No, I don't remember
That's
that one.
useful.
Yeah, I think that would be
Canadian Jews hated it. It looks ridiculous, like a cartoon. But the streak of light would follow. A streak would follow after the puck was shot, so people would follow the direction. I mean, it was cute. First, then it looked a little ridiculous, but maybe it's something we should revisit.
yes,
Well, if
yeah.
it'll help people know where the puck is.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, I do. I have a really, and everything happens so fast, and you're watching all the players, and I don't know. I just find it really, really hard. Suddenly, I'll realize, oh, the puck is, it's in the net now. I didn't even see,
How'd that happen?
you know.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, it's interesting. Well, just about similar to almost any watching any professional game. My one of my sons is, big time into baseball. He played little league when he was a kid, and he was pretty damn good. So, I'd watch him, and of course I have to suffer through him watching the highlights when I go to visit. But it's fun. It's interesting, and of course the more the more you
Yeah.
learn, the more you can enjoy the sport, that you're watching. And you do start, kind of, okay, well, I kind of like that player right there, whatever his name is. Oh, right, that's so and so. It's kind of it's fun. It's good. Yeah, it's good. I I I'm still, it sort of eludes me. What is it that makes a really a really good coach? Like, I guess I'm sort of thinking, what is it that they say behind the scenes?
Mm.
It's sort of I mean, I learned a fair amount through the book, but I still, how do they, the men who are on, the same team, they obviously have, a vested interest in how each other, is feeling, their attitudes, it's quite a team effort, which I find absolutely amazing, going up and down the
Do you know what book I think you should read? Burke's Law by Brian Burke.
Yeah.
really, yeah.
Yep.
Burke's Law is good. Yes, it is.
Now, why, I'm writing that down as we speak. Now, why, I'm going to be busy. Now, why,
Oh, I know. That's what we do. We keep you busy around here.
well,
Good
yes,
job. Good job. That's our job. We have an obligation here to keep you busy.
Yep. Yep.
exactly,
Well, he's
exactly.
one
I like to
with
be
the
busy.
one thing with Brooks with the book by Brian Burke, say that fast 3 times, is that he's a huge hockey personality. He comes across as really gruff and everything with the media, is brash at times, and makes him a magnet for attention. But he's
Mhm.
an Olympic GM. He's a Stanley Cup winning champion. He was coach. No, he was president of the Toronto Maple Leafs, making some questionable deals and some good deals here. And some he tried to turn it around. He's also very progressive minded because and he's just like he's a he's also like he's a gay rights advocate when his own son came out in 2009.
Yeah,
He came
that's
out
right.
and
Yeah.
he used and he marched
Oh,
he would march in the Pride Parade in Toronto wearing a Leafs jersey, making sure the Toronto Maple Leafs, you know, we're on the right side, we're on we're inclusive. So that he made a point of doing that. And he spoke out about that. He demanded and he expected all his players to be involved in the community to do something. I mean, he didn't just and he had a rule about don't trade players during the holidays
oh, right.
which I
Yes.
thought which I thought was a very which I thought was very understanding, very reasonable. Like don't trade
Hmm.
players over the Christmas holidays. Let them enjoy the time with their families, with our friends. And so yeah,
Hmm.
and he was aggressive. He came in a bit of he's an accomplished businessman too, and he learned from making mistakes himself. He's a pretty impressive figure in that way. I mean, you get the impression from the media that he's a bit of he's gruff and he's opinionated and all. That's their job when they're on TV to be opinionated. But he's actually a smart guy. He couldn't turn
Yeah.
around in Toronto, but then again, nobody has the past 60 years. So the he's got an accomplished record in his
Oh
Hmm.
career
yeah.
Yeah,
beyond just hockey as well. To be fair,
right. Is his last name Burke?
E.
Yes.
Yep, that's right. Brian Burke. That's right. BRA.
Okay.
Yep, Brian. That's right.
Okay, yeah, no, that would be excellent. Oh, my dad would be so proud.
Yeah. Burke's
My
Law.
father's the same way though. Go sorry. Go ahead. No, sorry. You go
No,
ahead.
go ahead. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, my father. You know what, Lynn? My father's the same way. Except he swore in Italian. And when he's watching hockey
Oh
games,
no.
he swore in Italian, and he would invoke religious symbols. Ooh, I don't think he's talking about this is not going to be good on Sunday.
Oh my goodness.
I asked my father, "Hey, Bob, did you bet on the game by any chance?" No. Of course, he didn't bet. What are you getting so upset about? It's only a game. What do you care? It's just it's their problem, not yours. But he was a passionate fan, right?
Yep. And
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
fans, like
Yeah.
it means everything,
Yeah. Now,
It
yeah. Now,
means
now.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, many of you know around here. I know people. I know most of you follow. Most of you follow me, but most of you know that I'm a big NHL fan,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm.
I'm a Leaf fan and a Jays fan too. But I cover the Jays as well. But I will never. But I'm not. I don't. But I don't. I'm not a gambler, and I don't believe in it. In now, yes, it is betting is legal in Ontario, and most of us are in Ontario here.
Yep.
But it is. But like Bet365, and but I don't. I don't like it. I don't agree. I don't agree with it.
No, same here. I think it's ruined. It's going to ruin the game. I think it's having an adverse effect. It's bad when the media promotes it. They incorporate it. It's part of the program. And tonight's odds on Beta 365. That kind of thing. I really feel the same way. It's one thing to be betting.
And
On pro
Proline, have
line.
you heard of Proline?
That's one thing, but not to make it part of the program. Kids are watching this. It's like having cigarette commercials. You don't
Oh,
need
yes.
you
Yeah.
don't need to promote gambling. It was already there long before long before Proline. Like there's always gambling, and it just seems that it has sort of an icky feel to it. It really does. It's just
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
Now
I don't
I
know,
enjoy.
it's
Yeah.
weird.
Now see, I enjoy it for the pure entertainment of it. I don't
Exactly.
and for I don't enjoy and the knowledge. I don't enjoy it from
Fair enough.
not enjoy. Sorry, I don't like the gam. I will never. I will never. I mean, like here's the reality. Like I realize though that yes, it's a huge revenue generator for them,
Hmm.
and that's why they're doing it.
Yeah.
But the fact is, I feel like you have to also, if you're going to promote it,
Right.
you have to also incorporate and talk about the risks of it.
Well, they always say gamble, play responsibly. That's their cover, right?
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
also now say for
It's like,
entertainment purposes only. This is for
yeah,
entertainment.
and it's like tobacco companies now. I mean, in Canada, have to show like some tobacco packaging shows samples of people who have like have actual images on the packages of people who have cancer in the mouth, gum cancer or whatever, the awful effects of it. That's as far as it goes. I mean, it hasn't. I mean, tobacco smoking has gone down over the past number of years substantially, and they partly because they're not allowed to gamble. I'm not sorry, not allowed to advertise, and they're not really encouraged to be advertisers for corporate events or cultural events like the Jazz Festival in Toronto. Years ago, it used to be promoted by a tobacco company. Now they can't do it. Now they don't do that. I mean, now they have to find other ways. Yeah, so, but the thing is, yeah, it shouldn't be with the media selling it, making it so available to everybody because I think it just looks it just sort of like say ick factor. It's like you make it's like cigarette bringing back cigarette advertising. You don't
Yeah.
need to advertise it because we already know it's there. Why
Yeah.
make it more available, right? And also here's the reality of a lot of betting, sports betting. The house always wins, right? The
Yep.
house always wins, especially in the United States, and they do a lot of the big betting and all. The house always wins. The winner, the people win small little things. They don't win the big ones. The odds are substantially against you. A lot of investigations have
True.
shown this.
Yeah.
Yeah, why
Mm-hmm.
would you? And going, oh, it makes the game better. Well, no, it doesn't. It's like people say fighting makes the hockey more exciting. No, it doesn't. It's the game itself is that's just my opinion there. Okay, others may disagree, but you don't need gambling. Otherwise, the game. Why is the game so boring? You need gambling to keep it make it more exciting. I don't think so.
Yeah.
That's just me. I mean,
Yeah. No, I
Yeah, no,
agree with you. And it's
yeah,
the
I
same with
do
the.
too.
Go ahead, Lynn.
No, you
No,
can
no,
go
I
ahead.
was
Yeah.
just saying, I do
Yeah.
too.
No, I was just going to say, like, I agree. Like, it doesn't make the game any more entertaining. Like, I get it from a revenue generator but standpoint, but it from like the actual entertainment factor of the game,
mhm.
it just doesn't it just doesn't do anything for the game. And same with the fighting. It's like just stop fighting and come on and get on with the
Yeah.
game already.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
remember when I used to watch with my dad
yeah.
and he's like, "Oh, they're fighting now." I'm like, "Okay, are they going to stop fighting and just get on with it already?"
No, but you know why they do it?
Exactly.
No, but again, they do it for the
Play
same.
the
They do it.
game.
They do it because for passion, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, but
No,
But I
no
mean,
other sport though. No other sport allows fighting.
you're right.
And so why does hockey get a pass? I mean, football's passionate, baseball's passionate, basketball's passionate, soccer's passionate. We'll all find out what the passion in the World Cup coming up. But yeah,
oh
I
yeah.
mean, they all allow that. They all have passion. Why are hockey players any different?
Mhm.
Well,
That's
some
what
people
I'm
think of it as entertainment. I don't like it,
Yeah.
but some people think of it as
no,
entertainment.
that is true. That is true. That is true. And God knows that the networks do show clips. The media, the sports media, especially the ones owned by the sports organizations, they show clips of the guys get into a fight here, throwing a few couple of punches and all. And I just look at it going like,
Mm.
you don't need it. I mean, the fact is, you don't need enforcers anymore. There was a time in the 80s or so, 1970s, 1980s, you had enforcers looking over the number one, looking over the star players. Now you don't have that as much.
But even
Like, you
if
don't
you
have
look
many.
at
You don't have.
yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, but even
I'm
if you
sorry.
look at like even if you look at like especially in like you look at like traditional media outlets in Canada anyway now. Look at how low the advertising revenue is.
True. Well,
Right.
there's
I mean,
something
look
wrong
at
with the product. But fighting sells. I guess. Well, fighting does sell. Sure. UFC, it does
yeah,
makes money and all, but still, I don't know. I don't think you need the game. I don't think you need that. That's just me again. I'm a bit
yeah.
of a purist on this. I know.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure
no.
you can direct all your comments to me, people, listeners.
Oh yes, yeah. But I
Yes,
mean, yeah.
Paul.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't think advertising. I don't think it can change with the way with. I don't think it can now with given how things are at. I don't think it can change.
True. It may be maybe the toothpaste is out of the tube. You can't undo something now.
No.
It's coming to a point. I don't know.
Yeah.
It depends. There's a certain breaking point, and
Yeah.
if that actually takes place, who knows? I mean, it's amazing what people can do when they get all upset about something and they don't no longer want it,
Oh yeah.
right? If it, you know, we'll see,
Yep. Yep. But I mean, the book, in my view, was very well written.
right? Yeah. Sports. Who stood out for you? Of all the coaches, who stood out for you,
I
Allie?
think it has to be Dan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. How about you,
I
Lynn? Anyone stand out for you? Oh, sorry,
No,
sorry,
go
sorry,
ahead. Go ahead.
sorry. Dan, how about Dan? Yeah, he's right here. Diane Bailsman.
Yeah, yeah.
Welcome to the show. Lynn, which coach stood out for you, if any?
Well, I don't it's sort of hard for me to say,
Okay.
only because, it's also very, very, very new to me. But
Mhm.
his name did, it did sort of at the end of the day when I, closed the book, it did it did stand out to me.
Mhm. Sienna?
But, but
Oh,
I found
sorry,
it
Lynn.
sort
Sorry.
of
Please.
fascinating, sort of, looking at all of them. And I just sort of thought about how um, talking about, the need for adaptation and flexibility, in-game adjustments, managing, egos and, all that kind of stuff. So I could see, I could see some of those things you know, in, um, in a number of the coaches.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know if I could really narrow it down. I've got to start. I've got to watch more games.
Yeah,
Then I'll be like,
me
oh
too.
yeah, yeah, there you have it.
How about you, Sienna?
um, Probably Mike Babcock, but not in the way that I was expecting. Like,
Sure.
I don't know, he just seemed to not like the whole, like, as you were mentioning earlier, and that kind of hit me too. Like, it just seemed that some of his ways of managing the team, like, getting Mitch Marner to, point out who the good players are and who the not so good players are. Like,
Yeah.
Mm.
if I were one of the players, I don't know how that would really, um, I don't know if that would really motivate me, especially
Hmm.
if I'm one of the ones that are, not, um, as powerful,
Sure.
should I say. And so that kind of stood out. And I don't know, just some of his tactics like that.
Yep.
I was kind of confused. I was going like, what the hey? Because, like,
Yeah.
what is him showing pictures, like having them show pictures on their phones? Like, what does that have
It's
to
a.
do?
I
Mm.
think it sounds like a power move to me. Like
Yeah,
nothing
it
you
seems
do
like
will
a
impact me.
power move,
Yeah.
but it's
Stupid
like
move, mind you.
doesn't
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
No, it
Like,
Mhm.
doesn't. It doesn't.
what is that? What does that do for motivation?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, I
The one,
agree.
the one, I must confess, the one guy who caught my attention, I mentioned it with Ali in an email earlier this week, um, was Joel Quenneville. And the book was when he won the Stanley as coach of the Stanley Cup in 2010. 2010 was it 2010, 2010
Oh,
it was.
yeah,
Yeah,
2010.
and he was of the Chicago Blackhawks. And we know the story about this, right? In May of that year, 2010, a draft player, a guy named Kyle Beach, who was a black ace, which is a phrase they use for a prospect player who can be available to play for the team if necessary. He had been sexually assaulted by the video team coach on early May of that year. About 2 weeks later, there's a high level meeting with then President John McDonough, GM Stan Bowman, assistant GM Kevin Cheveldayoff, who's now a general manager with the Winnipeg Jets, and then coach Joe Quenneville, among others, being made aware that there's some kind of allegations about this. And Bowman later said that during the meeting, McDonough and Quenneville made comments about the challenge of getting the team to the Stanley Cup Finals. Hey guys, we don't win the Stanley Cup. We can have a chance of winning the Stanley Cup for the first time since 1961. Let's not lose the focus here. So they basically decided, let's not get into this right now. Wait till after. Ironically, in June, on the day of the parade, that same guy, the video coach, uh, was later found guilty of sexually assaulting a Chicago Blackhawk intern. I mean, they knew about this, and Quenneville says in 2024 in a podcast that he didn't know about the sexual assault until an independent report came out that was produced in October 2021 that said that he'd been sexually assaulted by the video. And actually, and Brad Aldridge is quoted. He's the video team coach. He's quoted in the last page of that chapter where the controversy of that game was no one saw the winning goal go in. They weren't sure the winning goal went in, and then it was actually Aldridge who confirmed to Quenneville, "Oh yeah, the goal went in. You guys, we've won. We won the Stanley Cup." It's a complete absence of leadership on the part. And they waited. That's the thing. Going, a coach should be a leader, and a coach should be taking care of his players. That's what a good coach does, anyways. And in the case of Babcock, a bit of a bully. In the case of Quenneville, he didn't do his job. I mean, it's ironic. It wasn't particularly honorable conduct because when the report came out in 2021, or October 2021, he was coach of the Panthers. He resigned. Either he was told to resign or he resigned on his own, but he resigned. And now he's coach. I think he was hired last year by the Anaheim Ducks, who are playing the Oilers right now in the playoffs. He couldn't get a job for 3 years. Stan Bowman couldn't get a job. Kevin Cheveldayoff got a job though with the Winnipeg Jets as general manager. I mean, it just seemed like everybody kept quiet, which is the last thing you want to do when this kind of thing happens. But they didn't want to ruin the momentum. It's bad publicity. Well, yeah, it's bad publicity, but there's something more important. It's horribly embarrassing, terribly embarrassing for the organization. That's the least of the problems. And the fact that the Kyle Beach was assaulted, a young man was assaulted, and and for 10 years basically they kept their mouth shut. The media didn't talk about it, which makes you wonder as well. One reporter, I think it was Rick Westhead of CNN, who did he's done some excellent work, investigative reporter in sports. They need more of those kind of guys. But he found this whole thing. I did some research and made the story much more noticed. But it just seemed like that chapter doesn't resonate well. Clearly, if you know anything about what happened, I mean, they knew about it at the time and they kept it quiet. I mean, again, Quenneville says he didn't know anything about the sexual assault. All that there have been allegations, but he didn't know about the sexual assault until he read the report in 2021, 11 years later, which sounds a little odd to me. Which sounds
Yeah.
if he didn't know about it, why would he worry about the allegations in 2010? Why would he not discuss it then? Would he worry if there's so his argument makes no sense. But it struck me. Those are two examples, Babcock and Quenneville, of bad coaching in some ways. When it's easy to be a great coach when you have a plan, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to motivate the players, and even if the team doesn't do well, part of being a leader is how to handle the situations that you're not prepared for.
Yes, that's a good point.
And in both cases,
Absolutely.
they failed. And in both cases, they failed. And in Quenneville's case, miserably and tragically. Because not only was one player sexually assaulted, but another intern was assaulted by the same guy about a month by the same person a month later. I mean, if it had been handled, it would have been very unpleasant and very unpleasant, again, to put it mildly, for the team, but nothing compared to what the victims were dealing with. It just seemed like you guys, this is what leadership is all about. This is why you paid the big bucks, and you guys didn't do your job. And they paid a price, I guess. They've still got jobs in hockey and everything, but you shouldn't. In my view, should they be rewarded with the jobs in the NHL? Because working in the NHL is not a right; it's a privilege. Being a coach or being a player is a privilege, not a right. It's like it's only very few people get to have those roles. And I think once you I think fail in that, it's like you've blown that privilege. It's like some players get banned from hockey because of for suspended from hockey or even expelled from hockey and never get careers back because of something they did. So should coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Coaches should hold. Mike Babcock had the biggest contract when he signed with the Maple Leafs, 8-year deal worth over $80 million, and he in 4 years he was gone. And that what does that tell you? In less than 4 years he was gone. Yeah, he's making all the money. He's got no problem with the money, but still,
It's the leadership that's important. It's the reputation
yeah.
that's important.
Exactly. And that those two parts don't resonate well, obviously, for anybody who knows about the story. But now, having taken it down to a certain level, I must be fair. There was some there were two parts. One part of the book that I found really good was Todd McClellan, who was a gold medal coach, coach for the 2015 World Championships team. They had a great team, a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
great players because of and they won the gold. And Todd McClellan was in the news recently because he was coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets, and they didn't make the playoffs. In fact, he was quite critical. And Al, you may know about this. He had a bit of a meltdown at the year-end press conference, just basically lambasting his
Oh, right.
part in this team. We got to change this team. If I'm back here
Mhm.
next year, we're going to change this team. I mean, he was like directly angry and terribly dissatisfied with the way his players are going. Yeah, you can do that, and that's fair because most people, thought that the team was good enough to make the playoffs, and they just didn't. They just fell apart, and for whatever reason. And McClellan had a bit of a meltdown just about 2 weeks ago when this happened. But it was honest, and people said it was unusual, but it was terribly honest. And I thought this is what a coach should do sometimes. Sometimes you got to lay it on the line.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
now whether or not he gets the job next year isn't the question. But I like his honesty. Sometimes call it the way it is.
Hmm.
He did.
Well, and you know what? You've got an obligation to, even if you lost your job, whatever, you've got an obligation to yourself.
Indeed.
You have to, well, if you have any level of, integrity
Mhm.
and so on and so forth,
Mhm.
you need to be true to yourself. And if disagree with something or you
Mhm.
feel that it's wrong, then well, then you have to run with that and, be true to yourself, run with that. What
Mhm.
other way really could it be?
It's yeah. I mean, the coaches are the most vulnerable member of a team. Really, you can't fire a team, but you
Hmm.
can fire a coach. Coaches
Yes.
don't last very long. I find most coaches have a shelf life. And Ali, you can tell me if you know otherwise, or if you see other proof. Most coaches last about 4 years. It sort of wears out
Yeah,
after
that's
that.
probably right. Yeah.
Yeah, about 4 years, right? I mean, some are exceptional; they last a little longer, but still 4 years. And so that's not really long for a career for a team. And in the course of players, when a coach gets fired, the players always say, "Well, gee, it's all on us. Actually, we should be doing playing better and everything. It's too bad that he paid. Yeah, it's on you, but he got fired. The
Mhm.
coach got fired. So it's a challenge, and so coaches are in a bad are in a no-win situation sometimes. They get too much credit for a team that plays well,
Hmm.
or they get too much blame when a team's doing poorly.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Now, what is it? What is it about the sort of 4-year thing?
Have a go at that, Ali.
Yeah, what
I think
is it
it's
about the
performance.
4-year?
Mm.
Mm.
If the team's not performing, the coach is the first one to go.
But why do most coaches last about 4 years though? The question, I think. Why
Yeah,
even
why
do
not,
why is it why is it why yeah. Some
yeah.
I'm
don't
not
last
sure about that
some
one.
last longer, but 4 years, some last a little longer. But I think this comes down to if you have a certain style and you're always doing the same stuff, you're yelling at your players all the time,
Yeah.
eventually you get tired of being yelled at. You just
Mm-hmm.
tune it out. Not all coaches yell. Some are very good. Like I think who was it? Bob Hartley, who was coach the Avalanche in the book, coach the Avalanche in 2001 to Stanley Cup. I think Hartley had a much better almost not laid back, but a little more calmer way of doing things. And Hitchcock even Ken Hitchcock. I'm going to quote from Hitchcock where he was
Yeah.
told that what was it now? There's a great quote here. I want to find it here. Yeah, he was one of his people. He taught him a father figure, and he said, "A hockey player is not a piece of meat. A hockey player has a heart, a soul. They cry, they laugh. you're hurting his soul. I mean, that may be a little too touchy feely for some people, but the guy who told Hitchcock that when he was younger, it's something that Hitchcock remembered uh, as he coached. It's why he was so successful for as long as he was. I think that's some people say you can't be too soft on the players, you can't be too hard on the players. But the delicate balance is,
Oh.
if you're
Mm,
winning,
yeah.
it doesn't matter if you're tough or if you're yelling or if you're not. But if you're losing, it matters. Scotty Bowman was a coach of the Montreal Canadiens when he
Yeah.
was successful in the '70s, right? The players all hated his guts. They didn't like him. They didn't like him, but he was such a good coach and everything. He got them motivated. He knew how to do it, and probably the best team ever in the '70s, the Montreal Canadiens. Just an incredible team. He couldn't recreate that magic with the Buffalo Sabres, but he had excellent players. I mean, that's why that always helps, of course. But he
Mhm.
was a great motivator. He knew how to coach them.
Yeah,
It depends. If you win, yeah.
I think it's just interesting because how
Hmm.
that they just have the shelf life for, yeah, it's never generally more than 4 years generally, the shelf
Generally,
life for a
yeah,
coach.
Yeah.
they're more vulnerable.
Yeah.
Hmm. I like the phrase you used, Paul, a delicate balance.
Well, that's what it is, right? I mean, it's just
Yeah.
like some
Yeah.
people say you can't be if you're a player's coach, you're too soft on them. If you're a manager's coach, you're too hard on them. I mean, it's
Yes.
phrases that the sports media uses all the time. I mean, it's almost like being a teacher in a classroom, and it's like being a teacher in a bunch of unruly kids in a classroom. You got to uh, get them motivated.
Hmm.
Yes.
I call it the to serve with love approach.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good
Yeah.
way to put it.
There you go. A reference to
Yes.
Sidney Poitier. Hey, if you
Yeah.
can bring me in on hockey, that's a good show then, right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what would you give this book out of 5? Sienna, I'm going to start with you.
Hmm.
I haven't had a chance to read the whole thing.
No, from what you've
But
read.
from what I read, like I'd give it 4 out of 5. I mean, hockey isn't really my forte
I
as
know
such.
that.
However,
I know that.
But I
how
did this is fascinating.
yeah,
Thank you. I didn't
yeah.
know this, Deanna. Appreciate
However, it's really interesting to me to see the different approaches that coaches use,
that. Hmm.
when coaching a team and, when mentoring a team and, how they lead, how they mentor. It's very fascinating to see like what goes on behind the benches. Um, it's very insightful into the goings on like behind the benches and what it's like being a coach. So I'd give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
Lynn, what about you?
Hmm. Well, I agree with Sienna. I'd give it. I'm always reluctant to give 5 out of 5 because
Yeah, that's be the greatest thing
that may
ever, right?
yeah. So yeah, but I would give it a 4 for many of the reasons that Sienna has stated. I think the journalist, the fellow who wrote it, I guess he um, has been a journalist for quite some time.
Hmm.
It must have been, a challenge for him to sit down and sort of, there's a lot to pull together to produce a 4 out of 5
Sure.
um, book, and I give him a lot of credit for that. But yeah, for a lot of the reasons that Sienna mentioned, I would say 4. Maybe even squashing a little bit, maybe 4.5.
Oh wow, that's you squashing. We can squash. We're allowed to squash. Okay, that's good. I didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah,
squashing.
right
Okay,
on. We
squashing in
can
public.
squash.
It's legal in Canada. Okay.
Yes, yes.
What did you think, Paul? What did you think of it?
I gave it three. We're going squashing 3.5 out of five.
Oh, that's low.
No, it's still Goodreads calls it a good. If 3.5 is considered a good book, you like this is a good book. So
Right.
3.5. But I give the reporter credit. First of all, he includes John Tortorella and Mike Sullivan. Tortorella is just the most entertaining guy
And
around.
he's
He's
back, too.
charismatic, and he's back. He's back with the Knights, Vegas
Yeah.
Golden Knights. I mean, he's well known for his time in New York as a coach of the Rangers when he used to get these ongoing fights or verbal battles with the New York Post reporter, a guy named Larry Brooks, otherwise known as Brooksy, who just recently passed away. They going back and forth, arguing, just chewing each other out, and then that was always good. And of course, the fact that Tortorella one time went into during at the end of a first period of a playoff game, he actually went into the other team's coach's room and went after him for some kind of what he thought was inappropriate for the game. He gets suspended for that for 15 games after that. It wasn't during a playoff, it was a regular season game, but he gets suspended for 15 games for doing that. You don't go into other team's dressing room at the intermission and make noise about that, John. Oh, okay. But he also the coaches though. One thing and also the author. The author showed some real made this told about how he managed to reach each of his coaches, how they met. Like he had to dodge in one case on the way to interview a coach, he dodged a tornado on the way to interviewing Ken Hitchcock. He he was also under the various events of meeting a coach on a mountaintop somewhere with one of the coaches and the coaches were very good about agreeing to watch certain games and offer their evaluations of the games. And I thought that was that kind of background was actually very entertaining. I give it 3.5 by 3.5 out of 5. It was an interesting book.
Yeah.
Again, some parts don't wear well, don't resonate well, but that's not the fault of the author. It's just but the insights, especially about Claude Julien, who coached the Boston over Vancouver in Game 7 in 2011. That was interesting as well. So yeah, the profiles are very interesting. It's always interesting to see how people motivate others to reach their full potential. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Good and bad.
Yeah. For me, I actually on Goodreads, if you look, I gave it a 5 out of 5.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the writing it was well written.
Mm-hmm.
And I just enjoyed it overall.
Sports writing is different from other types of writing.
It is.
It's very different. It has you reach a sports page, or you read the sports page of the opening, the lead of a story for any event. It's always quick and short, very clever in a way. So sports writing is different. So this guy's obviously a sports writer, and he used a lot of common phrases in the game, which if you're a hockey aficionado, you'll probably pick it up, and if you're just new to the whole thing, you'll learn a few new phrases.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, the author, Mr. Custance, did a really good job. I'm impressed with that. It was an entertaining read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this was a fabulous discussion tonight, and it was a lot of fun. But now we're at that point in the show today where we get to reveal what's coming up on the Musa Slobodian Network for the week of April 27th. Well, starting with, actually, I should say the 26th. Well, starting right on Sunday the 26th, Sunday, April 26th, 2026 at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time here, the Ali and McCara Show returns, where we will discuss, I must say, My Life as a Comedian by Martin Short.
Oh,
Hamilton's very own
Yes, and
Martin
he's actually
Short.
Canadian,
Martin
yes.
Short.
Yes.
He's entertaining.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and
He
full disclosure,
is.
I started reading a little bit of that book this afternoon, actually, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Excellent.
Read by the author, I would imagine. Go
I
ahead,
don't know
Lynn.
who it's read by. I don't think so. I'm reading the Sela copy.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Was
It
he?
should be read by Martin Short, though. It should be
Oh,
read.
yes. Yeah,
That's perfect.
I agree. I agree. Wasn't Martin Short? Oh, I can't remember now. There's two or three comedians who attended McMaster University. Was Martin Short one of them? I can't remember now.
I'm not sure about that one.
I
Maybe not. But anyway,
believe he
Well,
was, but I'm not entirely sure,
yeah,
but it wouldn't surprise me if he was.
I think
John
maybe.
Candy. We
Oh,
got John
John
Yeah,
Candy,
John
Candy.
Candy,
Martin Short,
yes.
Eugene Levy, and Ivan Reitman. There you go.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. So
Yeah.
yeah, those
Yeah.
those those four that we know for sure. There are actually a whole lot more of those guys, but I think even yeah, Eugene Levy and in case you're wondering, Dave Thomas as well. Dave Thomas and
Oh,
more.
yes.
Tommy Douglas. There you go. Not that he's a comedian, although he could tell a good
Mhm.
joke. Tommy Douglas.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Keeper's granddad.
There you go. And then on Tuesday, April 28th, 2026, at 3:30 p.m., the Ali Musa Show returns to the airwaves when we will be talking all things Leafs. What happened? What happened with the whole what's going on with the GM search here? Well, there's and what did Keith Pelly's press conference there after the firing of Brad Treliving indicate? Well, we're going to be discussing all of that with Sportsnet's Daniele Franceschi. And then we move to then we're at May 4th, and we'll be Around the News returns to the Ali Musa Show with Becky Coles. And of course, then we move to the next books panel, which is on Friday, May 29th, 2026. And the book that we will discuss is Anxiously Attached, and it's by Jessica Baum, I want to say. Baum.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So that is what is coming up here. And of course, in between all of this, we have Textravaganza coming up on Wednesday
Yes.
as well. We have that on, which will at that point be Wednesday, April 29th, 2026.
April 29th, yes. And I'm actually just looking at the reminders here. So we are going to look at we're going to look at navigating threads in the mail app. So we're going to do a brief tutorial of the mail app, and we're going to do a full deep dive specifically into navigating threads within the mail app on the iPhone.
Sounds good.
Because I know that some folks have been a little bit confused with it, so I'll be happy to do a tutorial on it, and that's coming up next week, Wednesday, April 29th. And on May 6th, we're going to have an interesting session as well, because we're going to talk about cable organization and everyone's favorite. If I can learn some tips from participants on that.
But are we doing any software things that day? What will be your backup topic that day?
I'm looking into a backup topic. but um, I am looking into a backup topic for that, but please do stay tuned. I know there's quite a few topics here. We do have quite a few topics lined up as well for up until June. And so, but I'm definitely looking into some topics. I wanted to look at NVDA a little bit. I know that primarily um, people will use either JAWS and NVDA, and I did
Yeah.
do some JAWS basics on Textravaganza 2.0, but I'd also want to look at NVDA, look at maybe the pros and cons compared to JAWS, and just how to navigate through some basic tasks,
Okay,
etc.
sounds good. Yeah, so that will be so
Yeah,
that's on
I've been
Wednesday.
thinking about that, and I wasn't sure where to put that on the schedule. So
Yeah, so that's on Wednesday, April 29th at 1 p.m. Eastern. Also available if you can't make it out live, that's also available as a podcast at Textravaganza, TEXTRAVAGANZA.ca, and there are links to that as well in the appropriate show notes as well.
absolutely. And if you look at the tutorials category there, you'll be able to find all of the information and all of the links to the most recent as well as past tutorials.
Yes, and I think there'll be some changes coming to that, but
Yeah, we will keep you posted as it happens.
yep. Well, hey, thanks guys for joining joining me on this panel tonight. I do appreciate your time tonight on this Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
It's been an awesome discussion. Thank you so much for having us.
Yes.
I had a lot of fun.
Blast.
I'm looking forward to the upcoming list of books as well. I'm not familiar with the next one, but I'm looking forward to taking a look at that. And The Huntress, I love Kate Quinn. Oh,
Oh. Mm.
yeah. Yeah. And I noticed that, oh, yeah, well, this is not till next fall, but Beautiful Scars by Tom Wilson.
And
Oh
keep
yeah.
keep
That's
your
right.
request and keep
Yeah.
and keep you know what keep it you know what we're looking for we're already looking for books for 2027, so keep some requests coming in
Absolutely.
Yeah.
and feel free to contribute one as well, Paul.
Indeed, I shall.
Sounds good, and we will play the outro to take us out.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Well, thank you. That was
It
fun.
was great. It was great.
Now I'd like to read the book again because I just feel, I've made some notes.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. And you want the report of the Cho equivalent, so it had the entire report. It's the whole 100 pages long. So there you go.
Yeah, oh,
That's probably too much. As an addendum, you don't need perhaps.
excellent.